Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be studying the Gimmel, giving and receiving, giving and the receiving of the Gimmel. Okay. First, we're going to start out with prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Lord our God, everlasting King, who sets us apart by his establishments and established us on words of Torah. And make the words of your Torah, Lord our God, pleasant in our mouth. So let's start. The Gimmel. Our sages teach us that the Gimmel symbolizes a rich man with truth, a man with Torah, running after a poor man who doesn't know God or doesn't know Torah or truth, to give him charity. But what is charity? The word Gimmel is derived from the word Gemul, from Strong's 1576, which in Hebrew means recompense. It's both the giving or the reward as well as a punishment. It's like opposites. We're giving a reward, or we're giving punishment for something somebody did wrong. But it's the opposites: reward, punishment, give, receive, balance, motion. So we have to give an account for every deed. The Torah has both a reward, like pictures, and punishment, like the curse, but as the same ultimate aim for us all. How do we what do we give to God so that He gives us? Well, turning or teshuvah of the soul is how we give of ourselves to God, to turn to God, so that God can give and we are able to receive His light or His charity. So Teshuvah is very important because it's us giving to God our recompense, our appeal to say, oh, I'm so sorry for what I did, and just turning away from doing that. And we're giving that to God, but at the same time, God is giving us His light and His charity. It's like, here, I'm extending my hand to you. So, the Gimul. First of all, we're going to talk about, you can get two different kinds of gematria from a letter, okay? The actual gematria for the Gimel is 3, but if we look at the Gimmel, it is made up, according to the rabbis, it's made up of a vav, that long line that goes from the top to the bottom of the right-hand part of the letter, and the yod as a foot, the bottom part, the left-hand side. So it looks like a person in motion, a person running, or a person moving. Okay, so that's why I put the feet there, so that you could see that the Gimmel looks like a person, okay, that's in motion. So if we look at the gematria of the Gimmel through the lens of the Vav and the Yod making up the Gimmel, we see that the Vav is equal to 6, which we learned before, and the Yod is equal to 10, which we've learned before also. So 6 plus 10 equals 16. Well, the number is significant. The number 16 is significant because the numerical value of the Hebrew word ahava, which means love in Hebrew, is 16. So the connection of the Gimmel, like a person that's giving, and love is like a person running after or going after a poor person, and to give them, in a poor person in spirit and in charity, to giving them Torah, so that they may return, so that they may do teshuvah to God, and that's true love. So we studied the we're going to study, I should say, the Dalit. And the Dalit is seen like a poor man because he's bent over. So the Gimmel, in relation to the Dalit, is right next to each other in the Aleph bet. So it is seen that the Gimmel is running after the Dalit to give. Okay. So the word Ehud, let's go to the next thing. The word Ehud is the word sympathetic in Hebrew. It also equals 16. So we have ahava that equals 16. We have the ehud that also is equal to 16. So we look at the word ehud down there, and I put down the aleph, hey, bob, and dalet. So the aleph is 1, and plus 5 plus 6 plus 4 for the dalet is equal to 16. So we must be sympathetic to others. We must be able to give to others when we see the need for them to grow. They need Torah. They're in a down. Uh, uh, um, they're down. Their spirit is down, so they are needing the Torah, and so we are to be there for them to help them out. So the word, I'm sorry. So we're trying to give them that life. Okay. Okay. So the next thing we see is on Chabad.org online. It's one of my favorite places to study. It says, according to Kabbalah, in our own lives, we find that the upper body, from the waist up, it has a tendency towards selfishness. Take. So our intellect, our mind, often exists for itself, applying its faculties to secure its needs. The mouth, the stomach, the digestive tract, they're all employed in the in the intake of food and drink. But so too are our eyes, our ears, our nose. We're taking in visually, we're taking in audibly, we're, our senses, we're smelling things and we're taking those things in. So the upper part of our body is kind of like a taking in part of our body, whereas our hands and our feet are giving out. We lift up each other, we help each other. It's like, oh, you go over to somebody's house to help them out. Well, you're in the act of, walking over there or running over there to help them. But you're also, you're oh, I need you to lift this box, or I need you to take me a meal. So you pick up that food and you take it to them. So the upper part is the taker part of our body, and the lower part is the giving part of our body, according to the Kabbalah. So the next part, the Gimmel. The word camel is gamal in Hebrew, and it represents movement and progress. And it's a mode of transportation in the desert. So in a dry and barren land, it's like a world without Torah. That desert is like a world without Torah. But here you have the camel that's able to transport, to move, to progress in that that dry land. And that's a picture of us, okay? Because we take in the word, we take in the water, okay? The water of the word, okay? The Torah. And it fills us so that we're able to move on. Okay. So the camel embodies a process of being able to sustain itself for a long distance after filling with water. It's like a person that receives the word of God and is able to go through life because the living water has filled us. So we're like that camel that is filled with the water, filled with the Torah. Only when we're filled with the water or the word can we move. We also have to resupply or fill ourselves with water or Torah daily, continuously, in order to continue on our journey in life. A body, can go without food for a time, but it cannot go without water. We need that water, we need that hydration for our organs and our mind and our eyes, everything. So water is primary, especially in a dry and barren land. And if you can kind of picture yourself living in a dry and barren land, no matter where you're living, okay? So I thought about this scripture in Isaiah 12:3. Therefore, with joy shall you draw water out of the wells of salvation. What are our wells of salvation? Our wells of salvation are the Torah. We get into the Torah and we start just eating it up. We're drinking it up. We're hydrating. We're filling ourselves so that we can go on, so that we can move on. And then there's just problems in our life. There's troubles in our life, and we have the Torah that we're able to fall back on, that we're able to get us through those dry times. So it is only by being filled with the Torah that we can give and pour into others, which is what charity is. It's we're giving and we're pouring in to others. So in Numbers 3:1, it says, now, these are the generations of Aaron and Moses in the day that God spoke with Moses in Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadav, the firstborn, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the priests that were anointed, whom he consecrated to minister in the priest's office. Why am I bringing that up? Because Rashi says these are the descendants of Moses and Aaron. But we just read it. It says these are the generations of Aaron and Moses, right? Like, what? These are the descendants of Moses and Aaron. They weren't Moses's kids. They were Aaron's kids. Yet only the sons of Aaron are mentioned. They don't mention any of Moses's kids. They're just mentioning Aaron's kids. Why? However, they are considered descendants of Moses because Moses, he taught them Torah. This teaches us that whoever teaches Torah to the son of his fellow man, our sages regard it as if he had given life to him. So one who teaches a child, it is as if one had created that child. So when we have compassion on someone and we're giving them the Torah and we're speaking the Torah into their life, it's as if they are our child, and we're feeding them, we're giving them that water, and so they're considered like our children. It's like I'm giving you this water, I'm feeding you this so that you can have life, because that's what the Torah gives us. So Gamilut Hasidim, it's a charity or the giving of loving kindness, good deeds, mitzvah, the act of giving without expecting anything in return. It's an act of kindness in a personal service. It is not monetary. It's a kind act. And the highest level of Gimilut Hasadim is to attend a funeral, because the dead can't repay the kindness. The dead person can't thank you. Thank you for coming to my funeral. That's not going to happen. So that is the greatest, the highest level of Gimilut Hasadim, the highest level of charity, of loving kindness, because you're attending a funeral. You're going there for the person that will never be able to repay you. Gimilut Hasidim makes us feel good while we are on earth because we're helping others. But The real reward is in the Olam Haba, in the world to come, or the kingdom. So the end result of wisdom is good deeds, according to the Talmud. So, you know, the picture I put there is a man that's higher up on a mountain and he's pulling someone up. He's reaching out for them. And that's basically, the good deeds that we're lifting others up, from whatever situation they're in, and we're showing love by caring for each other, by taking care of each other. Hey, you look like you're going to slip there. Let me help you. And you're lifting each other up and you're watching out for each other. And that is wisdom, knowing that people are in need and knowing that we're here on earth to help each other out. So what's the difference between charity, benefactor, or tzedakah, righteousness or justice? Charity, the benefactor is actually giving to another in order to help them, to the point of giving them the ability to be able to stand on their own and to give to others. So I've heard this before. You can basically give a man a fish, or you can teach him to fish. So that is charity. Like teaching people, you're like teaching them the word to the point that they'll be able to lift themselves up through the word. They'll be able to give to others. So that's really important, because what we're putting into each other, the word of God that we're putting into each other, it's helping. It's helping that person, but it's helping that person to be able to hold on to those things, to be able to give to others. We're helping them to, like I said, instead of just giving them the fish, teach them the ability to fish, to go out there and to be able to do it themselves, so that they're able to stand on their own and like stand on the word on their own. Tzedakah is more money, but the important thing to remember is the money doesn't belong to you. The money doesn't belong to us. God gave us that money so that we could channel it out and give it to others. It belongs to God, who merely loaned it to you to do his work. We're obligated to return the money to God for his use. We only get blessed when we give. It's so funny, because what you need to, on this one, on tzedakah, every single time, Michael and I have seen it in our lives, every single time that money comes in, our first thought is, we're going to need it somewhere. We may not see it right now, but something's coming up. And because God's just kind of giving it to us to channel it out. And that's real important. It's not about, money to make you rich. That's not what it's about. That's a whole different story. This is, God gives us so that we can, give it out further. It's just a cycle of giving. God gives us, we give to God. God gives us, we give to this person as if we're giving to God. So it's just this continuous cycle. So now we're going to get to the real gematria of Gimmel, which is 3. It's the third letter. So the Talmud states that number 3 represents Torah, which is given in the 3rd month of Sivan to Israel. Also, the Torah is divided into 3 groups: the Kohanim, the Levites, and the Israelites. What we call a Bible is, in Hebrew, it's a Tanakh, and it's an acronym of the 3 sections of the Bible: the 5 books of Moses, or Moshe, which is the Torah, then the prophets, the Nevi'im, and then lastly we have the writings, the Ketuvim. So we get the tet from Torah, the tav from Torah, the nun from Nevi'im, and the kuf from Ketuvim. So here we are, that we get Tanakh, not kuf, I'm sorry, the het. So Tanakh. So that's where we get the acronym. So 3 is a big deal, okay? And one of my favorite scriptures that I always think of is, after 2 days, he will revive us, but on the 3rd day, he will raise us up. Well, 2 days after the 4th day, when Messiah came, would put us in the year 6000, and the 4 from the 3, sorry, would be the 7th. So the day of rest. So our sages state, if there's no bread, there's no Torah. God expects us to make a living in order to support our loved ones and to give charity. And by conducting our worldly affairs according to Torah, with honesty and integrity, we're actually finding God in the physical world. In the Gimmel, we can see the Vav, and I taught you about this before, the connector or the hook. That's the picture on the right-hand side. And the Yod, the hand. So we can see God's presence in the world, just like we saw in the Aleph. We can learn that charity is an act of God's presence helping others through us, and thus connecting God, the connector, the hook, to God in a higher plane. So, kind of try to remember that the Gimmel, the giving, that act of charity, is God's presence here on earth. That is one of our greatest callings, is to be able to be the hand that can help someone out. Be the hand that extends the Torah to connect that person to God. So this is a final thought that I have. On a dreidel, one of the letters is a Gimmel. So when our dreidel lands on the Gimmel, we're all excited because it means the player gets everything that's in the pot. Okay. But now we've learned that we only get anything in life so that we can give it to those in need. And that's love. So even the dreidel, we're getting the pot. What are you going to do with everything you get? Give it out. Give it out. So there's that cycle again of giving and receiving, giving the Torah, receiving the Torah, and then giving it out, and the same thing with, the word, just giving and receiving, just receiving, and giving it out, receiving and giving it out. And the same thing with money. It's like you're only getting it, doesn't belong to us. We receive it. God provides for us, and we're able to give it out to others. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please let me know. Put comments down on our site to let me know that what you got from this teaching. God bless you and have a good week. Shalom.